and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, grade 5 lesson or grade 5 English lesson on possessive nouns. So we'll be doing our grade 5 English lesson on possessive nouns. And before we start with our lesson on possessive nouns, you're going to log into the aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged into aplusstudents.ca with your username as well as your password, and then you're going to select the subject of language arts. We choose the subject of language arts, and then you're going to select the grade 5. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of possessive nouns. Possessive nouns. All right. Our lesson we are doing on aplusstudents.ca. And on aplusstudents.ca. So whenever you do want to go back and you want to go over the specific lessons, then you may do so. On the board, there will also be the different chapters. Do that. So you can then go on the chapter of possessive nouns. Possessive nouns. We are grade 5. Grade 5. And our lesson for today is to identify plurals, singular possessives, and plural possessives. And like I said, it is on aplusstudents.ca. We are also going to end off our lesson by doing an activity on A plus classes.ca. So for now, we are doing our lesson on aplusstudents.ca, but later on we are going, before we end off our session, and then we are going to do an activity on A plus classes.ca. All right, so basically we are now talking about possessive nouns, right? So a noun that shows ownership, ownership of things or qualities is a possessive noun. So a noun that shows ownership of things or qualities, we call that possessive nouns, right? And when it comes to the word, even if you look at the word possessive, it gives you the idea of taking ownership, or it's like it's yours, right? Um, so that is possessive nouns, right? It is taking ownership or showing ownership that of things or qualities, right? And that is a possessive noun. If we look at a few examples of possessive nouns, the first one is the lion's name is Shaggy, right? So whose name is Shaggy? It's the lion's, right? So it is the lion's. All of the clowns' costumes are bright and beautiful. So all of the clowns' costumes are bright and beautiful. And if we select the ownership of things or possessiveness of things or somebody that shows possessiveness, it is clowns. Clownses. And then the children's tickets to the circus are in my pocket. So whose tickets are in your pocket? It is the children's, meaning it belongs to the children. All right, so now with our possessive nouns, right? So we've now first identified our possessive nouns, but now we need to also identify if it is singular or if it is plural. Because you will find possessive nouns that are singular and some that are plural. And when it comes to putting our apostrophe at the specific words, then we won't be able to do so because we first need to identify if it is singular or if it is plural. So when we write or when we show ownership, right, of things or qualities, and then it means that we are going to write that word with an apostrophe S, right? So even if we say the kids, the kids' room. So whose room is it? It's the kids' room, right? My mom's bag. Whose bag is it? It's my mom's bag. So we put the apostrophe S. So we should know when to put the apostrophe, whether it is singular or whether it is plural. All right, so we're going into our lesson, which is to identify plurals, singular possessives, and plural possessives. All right, so a possessive noun, right? So once again, we are now just going to expand a bit more, right? So possessive nouns, it shows who or what owns something or has something. So who or what owns something or who or what has something. And when a remember we also I also mentioned that with a possessive noun we also need to know if it is either singular or if it is plural, right? So with a possessive noun, right, that shows who or what owns something or that has something, right? We also need to look at if the word is either if the noun is either singular or if the noun is plural. And when the noun is singular, so when the noun is singular, right? Then we add an apostrophe to the apostrophe S to form the singular form of the noun, which means that, for example, Matt, right? So Matt is the person's name. So if we want to say Matt's TV game, right? So if the TV game or the PSP or the Xbox belongs to Matt, and then we're going to say Matt's games, or Matt's Xbox. But do you see with a singular, With a singular noun, right, we put the apostrophe and then the is. But now, when a noun is plural, right, it is more than one person. So when a noun is plural and it ends in an S, then we just basically add the apostrophe at the end of that word in order to form a plural possessive noun. All right, so for example, right, the boys, because the boys is more than one, right? So it refers to plural, it refers to more than one boy, and also ends with an S. We then say the boys is, and we put the apostrophe S outside. So we put the apostrophe outside of that word. So the boys. And then when a noun is plural and does not end in an S, then we just add an apostrophe S to the plural possessive noun. Yes, so once again, when a noun is plural and does not end in an S, then we are still going to do the apostrophe and the S, like in the first example that was given over there. All right, so we're going to underline. What is the underlined word? So we need to say what is the underlined word within that sentence. And the underlined word, right, is our teammates' strength help us to win the final game. So our teammates' strength helped us to win the final game. So if we look at that word, right, we need to now say if that word is possessive or not, right? And if it is a singular or a plural noun. All right, so our teammates and the apostrophe is outside. It helps us to win the final game. So teammates is written teammates, right? And the apostrophe is outside. They want to also know if it is a singular or a plural. So this sentence is plural because it's teammates. And remember, it shows ownership, right? So if we, for example, say our teammates' strength, right? It means that like literally everybody, you know, played and they were giving it their all. right? So teammates. All right. The government has made many improvements to the school. So if we look at that word, many improvements, there's no apostrophe, right? And if it's no apostrophe, and then it means that it is not a possessive noun. The government has many improvements to the school. And if we look at the word improvements, there is no apostrophe s, which means that it is not a possessive noun. So that is not a possessive noun. And improvements is just plural. The soldiers had a duty to defend the fort. So the soldiers had a duty to defend the fort. So soldiers is not a possessive noun. It does not have an apostrophe. And if we say what type of word it is, we will say it is a plural noun. All right, so we're going to go to our test. So we need to say what is the underlined word. Our parents insisted that we never talk to strangers. Is strangers a plural noun or a plural possessive noun? Strangers. And if we select what it is, then strangers is just a plural noun. Mhm. The government has made many improvements to the schools. Improvements. Is that a plural noun or a singular possessive noun? And the government has made many improvements to the schools, which is that the word improvements, is that a plural noun or is that a singular possessive noun? All right, so there's no apostrophe, so which means that improvements is a plural noun. So we need to say what is the underlined word. The earthquake's effects were felt for miles. For miles. So The earthquake's effects were felt for miles. Is that a singular possessive noun or a plural noun? So an earthquake is, so if we look at earthquakes effects, then we will say it is a singular possessive noun. All right, so if we look at the underlined words, right, it says, what is the underlined words? These old newspapers should go to the recycling bin. So those old newspapers should go in the recycling bin. So is this now a plural noun or a plural possessive noun? So if we look at the word newspapers, then that is a plural noun. The anchors' weight kept the ship from floating away. So the anchors' weight kept the ship from floating away. And the anchors' weight, and then we say it is a singular. It's ankle, anchor. Mrs. Hickman was grateful for the guests' good manners. So Mrs. Hickman was grateful for the guests' good manners. So guests, it's like we first have apostrophe then s. Is it a singular possessive noun or a plural noun? All right, let's give this part. Hey. Mrs. Hickman was grateful for the guests. So we say that is a singular plural noun. Sorry, I don't know where that one went to. We have enough pedals for everyone to kayak. We have enough pedals for everyone to kayak. So the word pedals, right? Is the word pedals a plural possessive noun or a plural noun? Pedals, which means that we will say it is a plural noun. It was a mystery when all the sheriff's badges disappeared. So it was a mystery when all the sheriff's badges disappeared. So the word shade of, right? Does that mean it is more than one or is one person only? So in this case, if the apostrophe is outside, then it means that we referred to more than one person. So we will say it is a plural noun. Okay, so here it says it is a plural possessive noun. So it was a mystery when all the sheriff's badges disappeared, right? So this is a plural possessive noun, right? So what happens is that the answers and wording and so on the test can be very tricky, right? But what you can do is if you do get something incorrect, you go to where you'll find the correct answer, copy that, send it to us, and you will get 100 bonus points. So you got it. So plural possessive noun. All right. So we're just going to go over the different possessive nouns again. Every single possessive noun, it shows who or what owns something or has something. That is possessive nouns. Meaning if something belongs to me, I will say, you don't say mine's. Um, like if something belongs to Dwayne, for example, then we will say Dwayne's. Something belongs to Yushra, we will say Yushra's. Something belongs to the children, we will say the children's, and we put the apostrophe outside, right? The mice, right? Which means that if we want to make mention of the mice's tail, and then we say the mice's tail, which means it's mice apostrophe s, right? Because these are things that shows position. If your name is, let's see, if your name is Matthew, Matt or Matthew, right? And you're now sitting at your desk. Now, you want to tell somebody that it's my desk. So the person will then say it is Matthew's desk. So we can then say it is Matthew's apostrophe s desk, right? If the shoes belongs to Bill, then we will say it is Bill's shoes. Same with the girls, right? We can maybe say it is the girls' hair. Referring to more than one girl, we say girls, apostrophe outside, the girls' hairs. But the word, like for example, like the apostrophes, like for example, the apostrophe s or apostrophe wherever, right? The apostrophe in these cases, it shows ownership or position. It's like her, like if you are busy playing a game on your Xbox, right? And it's yours, right? then you are taking ownership of it. That is why we say you are possessive. And possessiveness, it is to own something or when you have something. All right. Oh, it's the girls. Sorry. Not they girls. It's the girls is here. I apologize for this part. All right. Let's go to the whiteboard. All right. So we see that with most of our nouns, we just add apostrophes, apostrophe and an S, right? Because it will either show ownership or anything that it will show that, this is mine, right? So most singular nouns, they add an apostrophe, and most of the words are either S, then we have apostrophe and S. And then singular nouns ending, we add an apostrophe, and Chris's ticket got lost. So Chris's tickets got lost. So words, like once again, if you are, let's say, we want to either show or talk about something singular, right? Then it means that singular means it refers to one person, right? And that is why we have singular nouns and we have plural nouns. And our singular nouns, right? It ends in ending in S, and it's apostrophe S to show the ownership. And the plural nouns, which ends in S, right? When we show possession, when we show ownership of something, right? And then we first write the S. This is not for more than one person. You write the S and then you put your either your little ribbon or something on and the apostrophe outside of that um outing because it shows more than one person. So with possessive nouns, we have singular and we have plural. All right, so let's do a few activities. Before we do the activities, we are going to a plus classes.ca. So we're going to log into a plus classes.ca. So we're going to log into a plus classes.ca. And then we're going to learning materials, grade 5. And then what would you like to do? Language arts, the green book. And then we're going to select not the first, not the second, but the third grammar practice workbook. And then you're going to scroll down up until you get to page 68. So once we get to the chapter, right, then we're going to do a few examples of pronoun, sorry, but possessive nouns. All right. So now we are here by possessive nouns, right? So we are going to do our activity on a plus classes.ca. So if you want to log in with us, then you can log into a plus classes.ca. And it says that a noun shows ownership of things, qualities, or qualities, and those are possessive nouns. So now this is how we are going to be forming possessive nouns. So yes, as much as we said, oh, when it is singular, we do something else. If it is not singular, then we, for example, show or do something else. But now, if we look at examples, the lion's name, its actual name, is Shaggy. All of the clown's costumes are bright and yellow color. And then the last one is the same. We add an apostrophe and an S. So now, when it comes to the our type of words, right? So don't forget whenever we either have a almost like something that shows possession or possessiveness, and then you just put an S, no apostrophe, because that would be a markdown. So most singular nouns, right? They add an apostrophe and an S. And then with singular nouns, when it ends, remember, if a noun ends in S, and then we put the apostrophe outside of the S, not in front of the S. All right, let us do the activity. We're going to underline which is the possessive nouns. Possessive. Underline each possessive noun above it, and then write S if it is singular and P if it is plural. So the first one was done for us, right? The clown's red noses looks like cherries. So the clowns is red roses. Um, red, red noses looks like cherries. And then if we look at the number one, do you think the human cannonball trick is dangerous? So the word cannonballs. So yeah, we put the apostrophe and the S. Do you think the human cannonballs trick is dangerous? There we have the the answer. So here we have our word, which is cannonballs. So do you think the human cannonballs trick is dangerous? And that is even showing a singular form. Because remember, we said that if something is inside, especially if it refers to only one person, and then it is apostrophe and S that we select. The ringmaster's voice has to be very loud. The ringmaster's voice has to be very loud. All right. Let me choose anyone. Someone must carefully check the trapeze, the trapeze artist's rope. So someone must carefully check the trapeze artist's, pardon, rope. And there we have artists. And then please don't eat all your sister's popcorn. So the trainee is putting his head on in the lion's mouth. So the question is, can we even put it in the lion's mouth or will we be eaten in the lion's mouth? So this is, if you have been doing something for quite some time, then it actually becomes a bit easier. So the trainee is putting his head in the lion's mouth. All right. Okay, let's do one more. So, yeah, they say, right? We need to complete each sentence by writing the possessive form of the word, right? And remember, we said with the possessive form of the word, we put either the apostrophe S or we put the apostrophe, right? And the first one was done for us. The circus was one of the most famous. So it is the Ringling Brothers. So which means that we must now say if it shows possessive for the Ringling Brothers, then we will say the let me just write that properly. So Ringling. So the Ringling Brothers. So if it's more than one brother, and then we put the apostrophe outside. The human cannonball act is next, right? Which means that we will say cannonballs, apostrophe S, is about to be, is next. The cannon fuse is about to be lit. So which means that the cannon's fuse, so the cannon's fuse is about to be lit. So that is where we put our apostrophes, especially if it's either singular or plural. If it's plural, we put it outside of the word. If it is singular, inside of the word. The lion trainee. Bravery is amazing. So which means that the lions trainers one word, so which means a singular, so it's trainers is amazing. So that is basically it for when it comes to possessive nouns. Remember, it either shows ownership, something that either belongs to you, or it can show the ownership of things or qualities. But that is it. That is the end of our lesson on possessive pronouns. You should have an amazing day further. Goodbye.